Do need to discuss it more. We do need to talk about the loads that our pastors carry, the first ladies of the churches carry, ministry leaders, praise leaders. There are so many people in leadership, and we don't really talk about what all that they go through in terms of managing that ministry, their specific ministry. So we're going to have Pastor Dixon from Mount Gilead Baptist Church in Italy, Texas, with his lovely wife. And then we're going to have Dr. Tonya Cunningham. She is a specialty grief counselor, but she does a lot of other things, and I had the pleasure of speaking with her. So she'll be on tonight. And then during Girl Talk, we are going to have a couple of different topics that we go over. Primarily, we'll be talking about Black influencers, African American females that are making moves that I'm really watching and enjoying. And then we'll talk about, of course, some of the news about the pastors that are in current events. Really need to talk about that. And what else do we have on deck? Oh, yeah. Something that we're going to need going from spring into summer is how to be mindful about our relaxation. Nisha is going to bring that to us tonight as the balancer. So we'll have some lessons on meditation. And if I can meditate without falling asleep, we know that we have been successful, because anytime I'm sitting still, only thing I can do is go to sleep. So last week and the week before, I had the opportunity to speak with several groups about the emotionality of success. And one of the things that I talked to them about was disappointment, dealing with disappointment. So I want to highlight that a little bit tonight, because I got a lot of questions following those talks, and people actually inboxing me saying that makes sense, I didn't ever think about it. So when I talk to people about the emotionality of success, I help them understand that success is not always up in the air. We're not always on cloud nine. We're not always doing well. That there are some points in our journey where we're actually either failing or falling short. And that does not mean that our journey is over. It means that we need to step back and reflect on what we're doing and actually come up with another way to either do it differently or do it better. I also told a group of teenpreneurs, and let me give her a shout out, Miss Star Williams. She, let me see, I don't think it's owned, but she runs the nonprofit Stars United Global Outreach and does a lot of work with young entrepreneurs. But one of the things that I told them was that in your failure, there is success. Because what failure does is it agitates you, and agitation brings about growth. And if there's no growth, then how can you consider yourself a success? And we brought that in as well to talk about entitlement. That a lot of people feel like they're entitled to success, that things should just come naturally to them. There should be no hiccups, but that's called entitlement. And we don't ever want to get in a place of entitlement, because that also will stunt your creativity and your growth. And you never really know what you're fully capable of. So I'm okay with agitation, I'm okay with failure, but I don't sit in agitation and I don't sit in failure, and that's what I encourage people to do when I've been talking to them. So that's kind of what I've been on the last few weeks. People have been asking me to speak, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Each time I get to share a different little bit of what's actually going on in my mind that we keep bringing up here every month, talking about the emotionality of success, and then things that people talk to me about just in daily interactions. So last month was March, and some of you know that both of my grandmothers are named Rosie. I love my Rosies. So one Rosie has gone on to be with God, and the other Rosie is here. And so you see a picture now of my Rosie that has gone on to heaven. And then my other Rosie, she turned 87 last week. So when I was growing up, I thought that everybody's grandmother was named Rosie, because both of mine were Rosie. And they had such a huge impact on me and who I am. My grandmother Rosie with an I, she was a house cleaner, if you will. She was a maid. And she would take me out to people's homes over in North Dallas, off of Turtle Creek. We would go out there every week, and she taught me so many things about how to be a woman, how to carry myself, how to speak up for myself. And then my other grandmother, who I say Rosie with the Y, she actually worked in finance. She worked for the Dallas Urban League for years. She's been in accounts payable, a really good money manager. So she taught me a lot about what I know in terms of finances. But with both of these women, I had the most meaningful and best conversations because they always respected my voice. Even as a child, they respected my voice and encouraged me to think and create and be assertive, all of these words that they would feed into me. And I never once got in trouble for speaking my mind, but what I would get in trouble for was not asserting myself. So if I came in the house crying about what somebody did to me, I'd get in so much trouble. So it was just those things that I was reflecting on in Women's History Month in terms of them passing on. Just some of those things that I love about my grandmothers, and I wanted to share it with you guys, my Rosies. So we are going to have a good show tonight. I want you to hang in there with us. We have Girl Chat coming up next with Tasha. You know how Tasha is, the branded bandit. See what she has for us on Girl Chat tonight. And then Nisha is going to bring us an interview that she did with a nice group over in Dallas about the mindfulness, meditation and being mindful and actually taking the time to just stop, which it has made me very conscious about absorbing my time when I don't have anything to do, like if I wake up early in the morning or as I prepare to go to bed, because usually when I get ready to go to bed at night, I go straight to sleep, no discussion. I don't have to think long or anything. I just turn on Star Trek. That's a trivia question for you. I watch Star Trek before I go to bed every night. I can turn on Star Trek and I go straight to sleep. So Nisha's going to give us a little bit of information about what she learned, and then we'll go into our interviews tonight, which I just expect to have a really good time with that. So hang in there. Remember to invite your friends to Goals Don't Have Feelings with Dr. Stacia Alexander. Go on the chat, talk to us, let us know what's going on, ask us questions. We'll also post a phone number. Oh, it's already up. There you go. So call us at the station, 972-863-8860. Give us a call, or 0, depending on where you're from, and we'll take your questions during the show. So hang tight. We'll be right back.
Discussing major African-American female influencers like Miss Valerie Burton, encouraging us to get out of our comfort zone. And what about the Oscar winner, Regina King? Did she not highlight this year's award ceremony? Issa Rae is turning heads in Hollywood like never before. But don't forget about Serena Williams. She's using her experience to help other business women launch their own desires. And Taraji P. Henson is highlighting mental health like never before. You know I like that. Come on, Rihanna with that beauty line, and Jada Pinkett Smith with Red Table Talk. Forget what Hollywood says. We can build our own platform. And Miss Michelle Obama has the highest ranking memoir ever recorded. And then look at Ava DuVernay. You know I love her hair. She's rocking Hollywood like no one else. Oprah Winfrey and Shonda Rhimes are still making moves on television, so don't sell them short. And then Lovey, oh my gosh, her commentary, you can't beat it. No one in the market. So watch us as we talk about the major influencers, because we want to know, who are you watching? Thursday night, 7 p.m., Goals Don't Have Feelings with Dr. Stacia Alexander. We'll see you there.
Okay, we are back on set. Boy, I tell you, I'm telling you, live broadcasting is hilarious. And so you'll see, that's another reason why I go straight to sleep at night after being on set. So, ladies, are y'all ready? Tasha, your hair kind of flying. You good tonight?
Yeah, I got this one Michael Jackson curl that just went lost. I know, it's a little flat.
Jackson curl, she trying to sell
It's a little flat tonight. I'm so sorry. I know y'all are used to me being at my best. It's just a little flat. It'll be all right.
It'll be all right.
It'll be all right.
So y'all doing okay tonight?
Yes, I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Leisha?
I'm doing great. I'm just glad to be here. Had a little snafu over earlier, and getting adjusted with you guys. But I'm glad to be here live with you guys.
Okay. So, Nisha, we need you to scoot over a little bit. They're going to fix that camera that's on me so you don't knock that over.
Okay.
Yeah, Tasha, scoot it over a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, Lord help us.
Oh, this is the camera that's on you.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, and I'm controlling it. Okay, and I'm controlling this camera.
Yes, you are controlling that camera.
Okay.
So I'll scoot over this way, Dawn.
All right. Is this better? All right. Now I'm in.
You in the shot.
In the shot. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Take 3.
All right.
Put down a little bit. Put down a little bit.
Okay.
Now, Dawn, now you're not all in here on our show. Are you on our show?
There we go.
Say hi, Dawn. Don't leave without saying
But look, yeah. Dawn, you on our show.
All right, so we are ready to go. All right, action.
Okay.
We just needed a laugh break.
We needed a laugh. That's how you end the evening. Okay.
That's right.
So black influencers, who are you guys watching?
Okay, I follow Lovey, Awesomely Lovey.
Okay.
And today I just joined. She's doing I think like a website kind of. I don't know if it's like a newsletter. I just joined it today. You have to ask to join. I don't know what the criteria is, and she has one question that you ask that you should know about her. Anyway, so I got my return email back saying that I had been accepted. So I'm kind of excited. But she is hilarious.
Okay, so that's what you like about her?
Yes.
I like her,
my goodness.
I like her wit. I like her
Yeah.
perspective
Yeah,
creating.
and she just says just how she feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course that's what I like. Yeah, I like her. And let me see, who else do I follow? Well, I just follow funny people. I'm not really into like you. Yeah, and you like meditation and
That's me,
self-help
that's meditation.
and I don't do all of that.
I do like people who are about movement and career wise, and I do like. I'm not necessarily a non-fiction reader in terms of biographies and things like that, but I do like to know somebody's story. But I enjoy, of course, I enjoyed Flotus' book, Michelle Obama.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't read that. Did you read the whole book?
I did read the book, remember?
Well, I don't think you had read it the last time we talked about
I
it.
told you because I learned some things that I thought I knew about, but I really did not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew. Nisha, who you like to watch?
I like Shonda Rhimes.
Okay.
She's very creative, and she has provided multiple shows at one time.
Right.
So it really speaks to how creative she is as a writer, as a thinker.
Okay.
So I really like her influence that she is.
Now that is what I like or energizes me is if you're a creative person and you can figure out how to make a living at what your passion is. Like she's a good businesswoman.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's called multiple streams of income. And she, each show she had.
Well, I think that's magnified. Yeah, like Oprah too. I mean, she does a lot. Like she got the Weight Watchers contract, she got the channel, the broadcasting station.
And she has her own magazine.
Yeah, she has Martha Stewart is that kind of person. I know she's not black, but she is that kind of person that understands.
She's not black.
Martha Stewart, you trying to be funny?
Well, when you said it, so no one would know.
Well, you never know. Y'all didn't know who Nipsey Hussle was.
No, you did, girl. You didn't know who he was. You thought that your daughter was talking about Nipsey Russell, and you told her that man had been dead.
Misspelled it, but anyway.
Yes, I did know who he was.
No, I did not know who Nipsey Hussle was. I'm glad to get to know what he's doing, but I did not know who he was. Yeah. But
did you know, Nisha?
Yes, I was aware of
what?
So I'm not a big person that follow pop culture, but I was aware of him.
You were? Okay.
Well, you got one up on the Doc, because Doc had absolutely no idea.
I did have a reference point.
Yeah.
I did not, but
even Legal knew, but Doc had no idea.
Well, but now she's learning more about
him. Yeah, like I'm reading everything, and I think that's what I like is that I'm okay with reading up if I don't know, especially with the population that I work with over at the college. Like, so you know what? That's perfectly what I was talking to this group about a couple of weeks ago. That topic was the ethical responsibility of mental health advocacy in minority communities. And what I was telling them about is if somebody comes into your office and you don't take the time to get to know what's going on with them, particularly with African Americans and the instances of racism that we're having to face like every day now. Like what I have to deal with now is like what mothers had to deal with back during the civil rights movement. I'm raising a son. So I have those same fears. There's no reason I should be having these same fears 50 and 60 years later. So if I'm going to sit down at your desk or sit down at on your sofa as a client, and you don't take the time to actually understand that when I tell you I'm afraid, you minimize my fear. Oh, you don't have anything to worry about. Nothing like that could happen to your son. Well, yeah, it could happen to my son because the white man doesn't care what his education is that he runs up on at the grocery store or on the highway. It doesn't matter, right? So that's what I did with these students when they were coming in talking about Nipsey Hussle. Let me sit down and see what this dude is doing. Like, why do they think it's a conspiracy? The government killed him, and two, what was his impact for them? Because they felt like they personally knew this guy.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay. So I stepped off my counselor. Let me step down. All right. Yeah. Okay. So then, Tasha wanted to talk about the situation with Pastor John Gray and how he keeps falling into the news.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind
of. We're gonna be nice about it because he is a man
of the cloth. Yes.
What makes you think that we would not be nice about it? I'm just gonna be truthful about what I think. Okay. But everyone knows he had been in the media recently because he was allegedly had an affair. Okay. Nice. And so, because he's saying that he did, what he is saying, what it sounds like to me is that he had maybe an emotional affair. Okay. He said, it was not any sexual relations with that woman. Okay. And he and his wife were on The Real, I guess, a few weeks ago, and so I wanted to make sure I taped it so I could watch it. But anyway, so he said that him and his wife, as all marriages do, they were going through a little hard time, some struggles, and this person that he knew, they just started talking, So, I guess she was a shoulder, and it just went too far. He said instead of, talking to maybe his spiritual advisor or going to see a marriage counselor, he talked to someone else. So he says that that's all it was. But of course, the stories that I had read before was that the wife found out who she was, jumped on her, all of that. And then, in the midst of all this, they renewed their wedding vows. I think they've been married 8 years, and he gave her this very expensive SUV.
$200,000.
Yeah, $200,000.
No, it was a Lamborghini SUV?
It was something. I forget which one.
It was a Lamborghini.
It was an SUV. Well, okay. But anyway, so people were saying that he did that because he'd had this affair, and this is his way of apologizing. Well, then he also took flack because, of course, they feel like he was taking money from his flock, and he made it be known. But what I guess gets me, even with his wife, she's the first lady, she does absolutely too much clap backing to me. She gets on social media, on her Instagram, and she claps back. I understand we're human. I mean, you expect me to clap back, and I am, but I'm not a first lady. Okay.
Meaning you have people looking up to you.
Right. I'm not, my husband is not the pastor of a church. So, okay, I can get on there. I just think that as a first lady, she should have had a bit more decorum. Just don't log on, because I understand when you read some things you want to. So just don't log on. I just wish that she would have demonstrated much more restraint in what she did, and that makes me very well believe that she did put hands on this lady. Now, what she said on the show was that, first of all, she didn't know the lady's name. She'd never seen her. Come on. She is a black woman. Not only has she seen her, know her name, she knows where she works, she knows where she lives, she knows where she was born. She knows all of that.
So, you know what my issue with it is? One, everybody is human. So that's what I totally get, everybody's human. My issue is that it has been so publicized. And I think that it's publicized because this is what happens when people in leadership have a difficult time in their life, they don't step down and get their family together. They
Get their house in order.
Yeah, they don't step down and get their house in order, right? And so they try to stay in their role, and that continues to publicize. It makes everything open to everybody's. What is the word I'm looking for?
Feedback or
No.
To what everybody's shortcomings or the difficulties that they are experiencing.
You're under scrutiny
Yeah.
by everybody. Okay, so then that's the first thing is publicized. And then to live your life out on social media when something so sensitive is going on, it complicates the recovery of whatever is going on. So you're constantly having to filter out the information, right? And so I don't know. That's my concern about it is who's holding them accountable. Even in ministry, that we have to help people. We have to have people that hold us accountable. Do you want to? Oh, that's not an SUV.
Well, no, but
Is it a crossover? That looks like
that looks like I don't know. It's an expensive car, but that's
a
her.
Lamborghini.
You know, it may be it. I don't know. It may be the one he bought her because I don't know. That looks like a crossover vehicle or something.
It's nice.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. And I said that. I said it was always nice. But you know, it did come out too this week that they were asking the congregation to replace the roof.
Yes. Now I didn't see anything wrong with that. Do you see something wrong with
The
that?
reason I see something wrong with it, one, it's your business. But again, when you put everything out in public, then you're up for scrutiny. So my concern with that is, okay, so we were not the pastor of a church, but if I was in leadership, I just gave so much. You see what I'm saying? Like, it was like, oh, we're going to buy this for the youth department. We're going to buy this. We're going to pay this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. So if I saw that my roof of my church you got over, how many in the flock? 1,000?
I don't know how many you have. But I guess my question is, who's supposed to buy the roof if it's not the congregation?
I'm saying I would have a hard time asking to one, that's the, okay, yeah, we're going to get into a whole new dialogue on that. But to me, yeah, you know what, I'm going to nix that. Because, okay, so this was I'm just going to say what my concern, what it was, is that because what you said was that you can afford it. That was always the car. I can afford it. I write books, I speak, I do all
That's
these
what he
things,
said.
right? And so if I saw my building in need of repairs, the way that they're saying is that we're going to get rained out. I mean, like, it was just this big concern about it. One, insurance covers the roof.
Right.
That's the first thing. But two, I pay it. I mean, that's just me.
I wouldn't.
I know you wouldn't.
That's why I'm not a first lady and a
Exactly.
pastor. I wish I would buy this roof for this church. All y'all go up in here, and I'm up in here giving y'all this good word every Sunday.
Okay.
Every Sunday, I'm giving y'all this good word.
So money should have been put to the side for that.
Well, that's what your tithes are going for, right? That's why people paying tithes.
That's what
It's
I'm saying.
for
Why do I have to do a separate fundraiser for this now?
what church you didn't go to growing up that didn't have a building fund?
No.
What you mean no?
That's part of what happened with people.
I know that they never put a doorknob on the church with that building fund, but they had one.
Fund, and we ain't moving on the building. We ain't getting
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's what the building fund.
But now I'm pretty sure you were going to see a new roof on this church. Yeah.
I'm sure like I said, insurance pays for that. I don't get that at all. But okay, Nisha, you got something to add to that? She's steering clear of that.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about the segment, Nisha, that you are going to share with us today.
Yes, so I had an opportunity to meet with Laura Sarna for meditation. So often I'm always trying to look at ways to balance, the stresses of the day or just thoughts in general. So I got a chance just to sit down with her and her partner to address concerns about how to meditate, what meditation is. And also she provided a demo. So I'm very excited about that particular piece that I got a chance to meet with Laura last week.
Okay. So we're going to run that video.
Okay.
We need you to pay attention. I told Nisha, boy, that was relaxing. So make sure you pay attention because they give you some definite tips on meditation, being calm, all those things. Done. Can you put the camera on me? Because Tasha over there on the phone.
Oh, were you talking to me?
Yeah, that's it. That's not it.
I didn't know you were talking to me. I thought you were still on the meditation, and that's not my genre. So I was just sitting over here.
Meditation is not yours. You're a hype girl, if anything.
Very freeing and relaxing.
Is it? I'm going to listen
Have you
to
tried it?
So in meditation, let me just ask this. When you meditate, you just want me to sit there and be quiet?
So it is you getting in contact with your body, getting in contact with your thoughts, because we're always running constantly. It's just like a computer. You have to reboot the computer, shut it down, because if you don't, it won't run properly. So we ourselves are a system. We're constantly interacting with people. We're constantly having, positive and negative, feedbacks. And so sometimes it can be draining on you emotionally, physically, as well as spiritually. So when you meditate, it allows you to fall off the grid, to get quiet, to silence yourself so you can be able to have clarity as you move throughout your day, throughout the week. And so there are a lot of good benefits to meditation.
Okay, so we're going to watch this reel.
Okay.
Nisha interviewed someone off-site, so you guys stay tuned, catch this, and let us know. Remember, you can always call in with your questions, or you can chat. The phone number is 972-863-8860. Roll the clip.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Nisha Livingston. I am with Goals Don't Have Feelings, and I am the balancer, and part of my segment is to be able to find coping skills and ways to be able to balance the mundane things of life. Sometimes our work life, our professional lives and personal lives cause us to be overwhelmed, sometimes anxious, as well as maybe sometimes depressed. And so my role is to find out what are some ways that we can be able to balance those energies, those forces that causes us to be fatigued, causes us to eat junk food when we know we're trying to eat healthy. And so today I'm here with Sharon as well as with Laura to talk about meditation, the benefits of meditation. And so I'm going to have them to introduce themselves, and then we're going to kind of talk about some of the ways and beneficial ways that you as the audience can be able to say, hey, let me look a little bit more into meditation and how I can use that to help me from day to day. Sharon?
Meditation to me is about being in touch with yourself, listening to yourself, just being quiet. And so meditation gave me that peace, that calm, my stress left. I have more energy at my age right now than I've had when I was in my 20s.
So I'm Laura Sarna, and our business here is called For the Love of Healing. One thing that you all have to realize about meditation, it's not like, I'm going to go sit on a mountaintop and go Om for a day. That's old news. It's not what works today, and with our, that's something that you might strive to do once in a while. But I started meditating 5 minutes.
Okay.
So what I did was I set my alarm for 5 minutes earlier in the morning, and my brain just was so constantly thinking that I couldn't even fathom how to stop that. So I got a little book of affirmations.
Okay.
And every morning in that 5 minutes, I just sat in my rocker and I would read an affirmation, and then I would just repeat it for those 5 minutes. So what that did was, as I moved through my day, every time that I started to notice, oh my God, there's those negative thoughts, or there's the fear, or there's the stress, I had a tool. I could go to that affirmation and I could feel it shift my brain instantly.
Okay.
So I realized that meditation can be a lot of different things, but for me, that's what it was, just a simple couple of minutes. I very quickly got addicted to it.
Okay.
Literally, my body was like, oh my gosh, we can't go without this. And so gradually my meditation time increased, but that's how I started.
That's how you started. And that's very pivotal of the fact that you pointed out to the audience that it's not that you're sitting on top of a mountain or sitting by a creek, which that may be the approach for some, but for those that are novice and who's beginning the stages, I think you provided a simple platform of just being able to do it in increments. So let me ask you this, because I'm sitting before entrepreneurs, and part of the audience that we do tap into every first Thursdays of the month are entrepreneurs. And so when you talked about meditation has been a lifespan or lifetime for you to be able to tap into dealing with issues of anxiety. Had you had anxiety prior to you making meditation a daily ritual?
Oh yes, and I have to say I didn't necessarily recognize it right away as anxiety.
Okay.
But I was always on a tight tether.
Like myself and Stacia, we are licensed professional counselors, and so one of the questions I get often is, so how do I deal with being anxious or dealing with being overwhelmed? And if they're not one of my clients, one of the first questions I ask, well, are you seeking counseling? And if they are one of my one of my clients, then I would say, hey, let's find some tools that are beneficial for you. And so I say that to say, to encourage people who's dealing with anxiety, depression, or any other mental illness, that yes, seek a counselor, but in you working with that counselor, he or she will also help you to find additional tools as well as coping skills to be able to deal with them simultaneously. And so this is just an additional tool, a tool to look into, helping you to deal with such issues as anxiety, because we are all, captains of our ships. And so if we're able to control the ship, which is the inner self of us, how do you do that when you have so many thoughts?
Well, there are many ways to combat that, okay? And that's common, okay? Even for an experienced meditator who's been doing it a long time.
Okay.
So with your intention, and you will get benefit, even for 1 or 2 minutes, as Laura had said.
Okay.
And there are ways like you can deep breathe, do the affirmations, your scriptures. Another way is to think of your body, be in your body. Think of your feet, your toes. Maybe wiggle your toes. It takes you out of your mind.
Okay.
That's what deep breathing does. That's what affirmation, it just takes you out of here, even for a moment. They say, I've heard a number of people, we haven't talked about this here, but a number of people say 17 seconds and you've formed a new habit.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
So what you're doing is that you're integrating a new way, and it just takes time to do that. So every time you think that you're not meditating and you think you should give it up, just appreciate yourself. And there's a appreciation, gratitude takes you out of your mind. We're going to do a meditation with just using our breath, okay? And I always, when we're going to use our breath, we're going to take nice, slow, deep breaths, and we're filling up our belly, and we're filling up our lungs, and we feel it all the way up, and then we're going to hold it, and we're going to do it as slow as we can, and then we're going to exhale, there's many ways to exhale, but what we teach is we blow out our mouth, and making that sound, again, is another form of meditation, okay? It takes you out of your head, of your thinking. So when your thoughts are just going around and round and round, take some deep breaths. Even if it's at work, take a moment while you're sitting at your desk to take a couple of deep breaths. Your clarity will be refreshed. Your peace, you'll get calm, you'll be ready to move forward and have a full day instead of a lull in your days. Just practice doing that during the day several times, just for a moment. And that is a form of meditation. So right now, just put your feet on the ground, and as Laura had started this conversation with our bare feet on the ground, if you can. If you can't, it's okay to keep your shoes on. But it just feels good to feel that connection to the ground. And we want to have our hands up in a receiving mode. And then we're going to close our eyes and just focus on how your body feels, starting with your feet all the way up, and all the way up your body into your head.
Well, ladies, thank you again for your time for this demonstration. Again, thank you for tuning in for Ghosts Don't Have Feelings. My name is Nisha Livingston, and we will see you again first Thursdays of the month. Thank you so much.
Okay, welcome back. So how did you enjoy those tips on meditation? I told Nisha I did try very hard. I found myself falling asleep several times, so I have not mastered that. So it was good to hear that it is okay if you fall asleep the first couple of times when you begin meditation, because it is teaching and training your body to relax and actually feel the connection. Did you see that? Feel the connection. Tasha said she didn't feel the connection, but of course that's because she will not slow down long enough to feel anything. But it was a good excerpt, and we are very thankful to them. So make sure that we're going to tag them on the Facebook page. Make sure that you check them out. They are very skilled at teaching people to meditate, and Nisha explained it to us. It's about actually finding the core and centering yourself. It does help with stress management. It helps with your overall health, your mental health. She talked about it in terms of anxiety and depression, grief, that people will use meditation. So it is a good resource for you to have, and I will try it. I don't know if I'll stick to it, but I definitely will try it. So we are on to our first interview of the night of our guest. We have Pastor Dixon and his lovely, lovely, lovely first wife, Keisha, right?
Right.
Don't want to forget. So we have them in the studio tonight, and they agreed to join us for our discussion of the emotionality of success. No, that's the emotionality of success. We're talking about the emotionality of ministry,
Yes.
right? So the reason we wanted to talk about this, because we are seeing far too many statistics about people actually suffering from depression, and people getting it mixed up, thinking that depression, it reflects a lack of faith, and we know that it does not. But we want to talk about that openly, and what it is to actually manage your emotional well-being while being in leadership. You heard us talking about Pastor Gray and the difficulties they are having in their household. And so we thought, you know what, we need to talk about this, because one, not a lot of people are talking about it, and two, it actually opens up the doors so that we can remove the stigma of talking about it, because you guys are human. You're in leadership. So tell us about your family and your church. Just kind of lead us into getting to know you guys.
Wonderful. I want to thank you, Dr. Alexander, for inviting my wife and I.
Yeah.
As always, I'm peacock proud, I'm hyena happy, and I'm elevated to be amongst the people of God. We are the leaders, spiritual father and mother of the Mount Gilead Baptist Church in Italy, Texas.
Okay.
A church where everyone is a miracle.
Okay.
And certainly we identify, bless you, we identify with the emotional stability of leadership, and particularly in the church.
Okay.
And it is an alarming statistic to see individuals who are falling prey to their emotions and choosing the wrong way out, if you will.
Okay.
And so, what a wonderful subject tonight. We are the parents of one son who is a graduate of Prairie View A&M University.
Oh, really? College graduate. Okay.
And ministry is fruitful.
Okay.
God has blessed us. We've been there 12 years.
Okay. I was wondering how long it had been.
We've been 12 years as senior pastor, and so eyes have not seen, ears have not heard.
Okay.
Neither has it entered the heart the great things that God has in store for not only us, but for the beautiful family known as Mount Gilead Baptist Church.
We visited your church and we enjoyed it. I don't know, do you remember we brought the kids down? Yeah, they enjoyed it. Yeah, they were little. Talking about graduating, we go to Chance's graduation this month.
Wow.
On the 27th. And Taylor is a sophomore now.
Amazing.
And then TJ is a freshman in college. Yeah, so yeah, we're enjoying empty nesting. I don't know about you guys.
We do, but they do come back.
Oh, they come back? Okay. Well, we'll get ready, but we're enjoying this reprieve, I guess you could say. Yeah, so we enjoyed your church. You had a large youth congregation then. Is that still the case? You have a good youth ministry?
And I think you were at the old church. We built a $2.5 million church since you've come.
Oh, really? I did not realize.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
you were at the
realize
old
that.
church. We've done a new facility, and God has shown His hand real strong on the life of our church. And so we're excited about what the future holds for us.
That is nice.
We do have a lot of children.
Yeah.
The
Yes,
youth
indeed.
department is one of the strongest ministries in our church.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, seeing those wonderful, well-educated, raised children of yours, come on down and help us out. Right. Help us out with our young people.
Well, tell us about you. Can you tell us a little bit, First Lady? Share about you and in terms of our topic for tonight, the emotionality of being a First Lady.
Well, my name is Keisha Dixon, and I would like to say, just being a First Lady, people think, it's an easy role.
Yeah.
It's not so much an easy role. Being a First Lady, you come to love a lot of people.
Right.
God brings a lot of people your way, and you come to love them.
Okay.
And you come to share, they come to share their stories, their life with you. So you hold a lot within yourself, from people sharing their stories with you.
You absorb a lot.
You absorb a lot. You do. Emotionally, you do, because, you love these people. You love the people of God. And they're your family. They come to be your family. So I love my church. I love the Mount Gilead Church. The people are wonderful. And I just thank God for placing us in such a wonderful place. God knew what He was doing when He placed us there.
That's good.
And I just love it.
That is a blessing.
Yes, it is.
So with you absorbing so much energy, I call it energy from other people. Our emotions are energy. And you absorbing so much energy from other people, where do you get replenished from? Like spiritually, we know that God is always able. God always provides us. But just like we have a cardiologist, should we have a heart attack, what do you do to replenish in terms of how much you give out to other people?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
I like it. Your book is a wonderful book, The Balancing Act.
Okay.
But there's a guy by the name of Daniel Thurman has a book called Off Balance on Purpose.
Okay.
And he used an analogy of a tightrope walker. And when we see them walking the tightrope, it looks like they're on balance, but they're actually off balance on purpose.
Okay.
And so I think that the real challenge is managing the imbalances or the unbalances.
Okay.
Even when it comes to emotional stability. You get involved because being a pastor, it's a dichotomy in a real sense.
Right.
Because God says, I give you pastors after my own heart. He gives us to the people, but He doesn't give the people to us.
Yes.
So I'm shepherd and sheep.
Right.
And with that, emotions rise up, but you cannot operate within the confines nor allow them to dictate how you behave.
Okay.
You have to be rooted and grounded in the Word of God
Okay.
in order to withstand the onslaught of emotions
That
comes through 400 to 500
So
people
true.
week in and week out. It is my conviction. People often ask me, Pastor, how do you please 300 people? I say, I don't.
I please God.
I please God.
Yeah.
And He handles them.
And He handles them.
And He
Right.
handles them.
Right. I think you make a good point when you say that you please God, but when we're handling those 300 people, like it's real. When we say pray for your pastor, pray for the first lady,
Exactly.
that's real. And I don't know if people are actually internalizing the impact of that. Like, we're not praying that you just go get up and be able to preach on Sunday morning. We're not praying that you're going to come, run the women's group or what have you.
Right.
We're saying there are so many things, just basic humanity that are going on when you go back to your household. Because, Trent and I were over there at the church. I won't say names or whatever, but we realized that our marriage had to really dig down deep and develop an entirely different core of who we were as a couple being in leadership like that. Because people were pulling on us from all different ways. Do you guys find that? Like, how do you manage that? Just the sanctity of your marriage.
Exactly. My wife and I, we're prayer warriors.
Okay.
And I have the blessed opportunity to preach young preachers, and it is my conviction also that prayer and preaching are the twin towers of pastoral ministry. Prayer and preaching are the twin towers of pastoral ministry. The preaching man has to be a praying man. If the preaching man is not a praying man, then he has a loose grip on God. And when you're prayerful, it is the wonderful weapon of guiding our marriage, our extended relationships, our church focus. Because you remember when Moses was acquiesced by God to go down and do some things on behalf of the God, and they get to the Red Sea and there's a problem. Mountains on either side, sea in front of them, Pharaoh behind them. And he says, what's that in your hand? He says, it's a staff. And that's what prayer does. It helps you to develop a wonderful staff. Can't do it by yourself. If I use my staff, that frees up the emotional onslaught. I try to delegate. And prayer allows me to do that in such a way that I developed a wonderful relationship and doing ministry. So I use my staff, and that helps when not being bogged down with so much emotion. And then the number one thing is, it's not my church. At the end of the day, it's God's church. Don't get so tied up and tangled up and emotionally bound thinking that you have to solve all the problems. Put it in the hand of the Lord.
And so that's how you maintain your marriage, is when you put it in the context of marriage. Because I remember Trent and I actually had a conversation that I'm still a woman.
Right.
I'm still a woman. At the end of the day, when we get home from church, I'm still a woman.
Awesome.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Awesome.
those are the conversations that we need to have when people show up in my counseling office, pastor and wife, is that she's still a woman. She still wants to be dated. She still wants to be coddled.
Wonderful.
She still wants to be listened to. You see what I'm saying?
Amen.
But people
Right.
don't think about that from the pulpit. They're not looking at that.
Yes,
Look at me.
so
I
right.
can get up here and get to move around and get animated. But that's what, I think we need to talk more about, so that when women do get in that situation, or men get in that situation where they're thinking, I should be beyond that. They get so spiritual that they forget about the humanity of life.
Right.
Excellent.
And that, no, you're not beyond that, because God created us with all of these emotions and all of these needs, and you acknowledge them in the sanctity of your marriage. And if I ignore them, then what happens to me as an individual?
The beautiful thing about us being at Mount Gilead, and God allowed me to truly pastor.
Yes.
And of course, I'm not perfect, and I don't submit my blueprint to how I do it, but we certainly take our vacation time.
Okay.
We take our personal time.
Okay.
And we have our husband and wife time.
Right.
They respect that.
Right.
There are some neophytes, and they're going to always
Is
have
that
those
for me?
in the church.
Oh. Look, I'm like, is that from me? He's the speaker. Okay, watch this.
Call from Mr. Garcia.
Okay, let me speak. Caller, what's your name? This is Dr. Alexander. She hung up, I think. Hello? I ended that call. Okay, pick up the phone. Yeah, I ended it. I don't know if she wanted us or if she was calling somebody else. So we'll see. If she calls back in, we'll take her question.
Wonderful.
But you're saying that your congregation respects the time that you guys need.
They have learned to love
Yes.
us and
Okay.
respect it, and very helpful in sending us.
Oh, really? I see what you're saying. Okay,
Very helpful
okay.
in sending us.
Amen.
And we're certainly blessed of God.
Yes, indeed.
People say the honeymoon won't last long, and they talk about
Yeah.
when you
How long have
start.
you guys been married?
We've been married 16 years, but
Okay.
when I talk about the church, they
Yeah.
say, man, yeah, you love your church, but be there 4 or 5 years, and we'll see how much you love it.
right.
It's been 12.
It's been 12 wonderful years, and the honeymoon is still fresh.
Yes, indeed.
Believe it or not one disagreement with the leadership, not
Okay.
one argument with the deacon staff.
Okay.
Not one.
That is good.
It's unheard of.
Yeah.
To the peers that I talk to often.
Right.
And they keep telling me one day, mad days gonna come from you, deacon. I say, well, that's your experience.
Right. And you have enough good days that you guys have the
Excellent.
strength to weather that.
Exactly.
If you do have some
Exactly.
disagreements.
Excellent. And then when you deal with people, you're gonna have emotions. And,
Right.
and so
Because
that's
we're
to be
not
expected.
perfect, church.
To deal with new converts and people who, and it's all about evolving spiritual growth. I think that we live in a yuppie buppyism world. We've grown so impatient with people. We don't give them time.
Because we want immediate gratification.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
do.
So
We
true.
want immediate.
And everybody want a fast growing church, but they want to deal with the issues that come
They
with
come with a fast.
That
growing
comes with a
church.
fast growing church.
Right.
In Acts chapter 6, it's a wonderful snapshot of what I think, how a pastor could deal not only with the emotional, but what his role really is. And it talks about some widows and some they were being neglected in the distribution, the daily food and whatnot. And they came to the pastors and said, we got a problem. He said, I tell you what, we need to choose some men to handle this part of it. So it is with us. When you try to do everything, there is no Superman.
Okay.
There is no Superwoman. You don't believe me? Ask Karen White. She said, I ain't no I'm not the kind of girl that you can just, and I'm not the kind of pastor that you can do that to. And so you have to let people know.
You just brought in Karen White on
Yeah,
there to
yeah.
make it real.
Yeah.
Okay, so Keisha, tell us emotionally from your standpoint in terms of managing the family, because you were certainly raising your son during these 12 years. How long has he been graduated? How old was he when you guys started at the church?
When we started, he was in college.
Oh, so he was already in college. Gotcha. Okay, so that was a done deal. That was a wrap.
And that was a blessing.
That was
Yes,
a blessing.
indeed.
Have some of the issues that other young pastors and wife have.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, okay. He said, I got an email question. There we go. Here we go. This Sandra from Granbury, Texas. Are the pastor and first lady a new trend now, or is it a holy matrimony? Are the pastor and first lady a new trend now, or is it holy matrimony? I don't understand the question. Yeah, your marriage is not a trend. I mean, you guys, 16 years.
Right.
The trend is over. Y'all in it for
Right.
This is classic. What I call classic. It's not a trend.
Yeah. Actually, been knowing each other quite some time before then.
Did y'all grow up together?
Yes, we did.
Gotcha.
Yes, we
Okay.
did.
Okay.
Grade school.
Okay.
Yes.
So then you've seen the evolution of each other.
Oh, God,
Right.
yes.
Yes.
We are each other
yes.
best friends. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not a ride and die. This is a ride and live relationship.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
and that helps us with the emotional side of it.
Uh-huh.
We've been together a lifetime. And
Okay.
so she's there with me 24/7 when it comes to ministry. It's not about not bringing your work home. It's just this is our lifestyle and we love it.
Okay.
When your needs and wants are the same thing, it's not only that you need the word, but I want the word.
Okay.
And the responsibility has actually been a growing principle in my life, and she's seen the fruitfulness of ministry
Oh, yes.
and how it has blessed me personally.
Okay.
And so it's what we do. The songwriter said, "Praise is what I
do.
And so they asked me, what I do. I say, I'm preaching is my business.
Yeah.
Pastoring is my business.
Pastoring is it. So do you guys do any workshops on mental health at the church and emotions?
We haven't. That's why I'm glad I have you. And I'm looking forward to bring you down.
Well, May is Mental Health Month, so yeah.
Really?
May is Mental Health Month.
And
We need to look at
it's really, as you said, it dealing with pastors and individuals have allowed the unbalance of emotional stability to some to, take their own lives.
Right.
And others to do certain things. And so it would be wonderful if you, and again, I can only give my perspective. I'm not a doctor like you. And sometimes I refer some of my members when they're going through.
Right.
you need to see someone professional.
Right.
There's some things that I just can't do for you.
And I applaud you on
That's
that.
true.
I do. Like that right there, because I had one pastor tell me that if what is going on can be resolved in 1 or 2 sessions with me, then I am going to refer them out. Like, this is not a spiritual issue. We're going to pray about it. I am going to give you some scriptures to guide you so that you can work through this as a Christian and faithfully.
Right.
But you need to go to a mental health provider
Amen.
and actually work on those things. So I applaud you for saying that. Mm-hmm.
God only knows what some people go through.
Exactly.
And as your profession, I can only imagine some of the things.
Yeah.
Confidentiality plays a
Right.
part, and
Right.
even with pastors, even with doctors,
Exactly.
and so, and that is emotional in and of itself.
True.
As you, the pastor, I've done a myriad of funerals, a homegoing celebration, and that aspect of it.
Seeing people lose.
Oh yes, don't know how to deal with it.
Right. Right.
And I've seen it take some people to a low place. And so
True.
you're not rooted and grounded in the Word of God, and then even at that, it still takes.
Because it's the humanity of us. Like, God gave us all of these emotions. So grief is a part of being a human being.
Right.
Sadness is a part of being a human being. I think people don't want to feel sadness. And so they ignore it. And the more you ignore it and the more it eats away with you, then we find ourselves dealing with depression, which is sadness magnified. And so if we talked about it more in the church,
that's real good.
If we talked about it more in the church, people would understand, oh, I should be sad. I just lost my mom. I should be sad.
Right.
My child just went away to school. You know what I'm saying? Like, we grieved that. We knew that was the right place for them, but that was energy out of the household.
Right.
You said they come back, but they're gone.
That's gone. Yeah.
They're gone. So that was energy out of the household, and we don't really pay attention to that.
Right.
You ask people, how you doing?
Right.
What's going on? And hey, I'm fine. No.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so true.
It is. It's important. So do you guys, is there anything like you wish churches had at their fingertips in terms of handling the emotions, like as pastors, as pastor wives, the kids, the preacher's kids, do you guys think that there's something as mental health providers we could do to help ministry?
I do, and you're doing it.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay.
And I'm seeing a stigma lifted in these latter days. But for African Americans, it's taboo to call a counselor.
Yes.
So we don't want. I'm not crazy. I never said you were crazy.
Right.
You just need some professional help.
Right.
And so that's the problem I see.
Right.
In the African American churches, we don't think we need that type of help.
You are right.
And and that really hurts us. And so what I think we need to do is stop being in denial.
Yes.
And denial is an acronym. DENIAL stands for don't even know I'm lying. DN lying and don't even know it, and that's scary.
Don't even know I'm lying.
Right. I'm in denial. Don't even know I'm lying. You're in denial. And so,
you okay if I'll give you the credit. But
you don't have to give me the credit.
I'm going to give you the credit because seriously.
That's it.
Yeah, you don't even know you're lying. And I tell people all the time, the hardest person to talk to is somebody that does not know they lying. That is hands down, that's the hardest person to talk to. Because if you know you're lying, then I can kind of rationalize it. But I'm talking, you know you're lying. And that's what a lot of people are doing, especially when it comes to emotions in the church. And I have watched pastors come apart in the pulpit, and it is reflected across the pulpit. I have actually said, why are we getting fussed at every week? Why are you on that pulpit fussing at us every week? You see what I'm saying? Because I watch people.
Right.
I'm very mindful of that. Don't do that. Like, go deal with your stuff.
That's exactly true.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to be mindful, again, of the dichotomy. And I said, God gave me to them, but he didn't give them to me.
Right.
Be careful. Moses made that mistake.
He did.
And he missed the land. Because of his attitude.
Severely consequences.
His emotions got the best of him.
Yes.
And yet, there's a flip side to that. And I think that's one of the major problems in Christendom. And that is people operating with their emotions.
Right.
Why you didn't come to Bible study? I didn't feel like it. Well, that's not a reason why, why come you did not speak to, I said, no, emotions are, no.
Right.
I don't do it because that's how I feel.
Right.
No, you shall know the truth.
Right.
You know, and so this knowledgeable thing about we don't operate on emotions in ministry in a real sense, because if I did,
I wouldn't be effective.
no, I'm sure it wouldn't. Like you said,
I wouldn't be
it's going to be a
effective.
problem.
Right. Okay. So then so this is the nitty gritty of it. Okay, because I can't operate on emotions when I'm in front of the congregation. Right. I remember somebody coming to me saying, "I watch you," and I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I watch you. I'm looking at you. I know every time you want to go off on somebody, but you don't. You know, it's you." So what she had done, even my minute changes in facial expressions, she had learned when I was dissatisfied with somebody's behavior. But I'm talking to this person, still being professional or what have you. But that is you see what I'm saying? That's the rip. Right. That's the rip. When you're in ministry, when you're in leadership, that's the rip right there. Is that I need to maintain some decorum.
Right.
Exactly.
I do need to do that because I'm being Christ-like. The human side of me is on the inside screaming. And that's what we have to deal with when we come out of the pulpit, when we come out of church, when we get back home, is that I can't continue to stifle that. I can't continue to stuff it. So I have to look at my husband and say, "Do you know what they did back there in that BTU last night? Or do you know what they did?" You see what I'm saying? And he has to be willing to sit there and listen. Right. And I say, "Baby, you can't get upset with them about it." Yeah, I can, because I'm human.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
You are who you are, and you are human.
Yes. Yes.
But did not filter into the Word of God. You're actually spiritual, housed in the human body.
There you go.
But that's just the pastor and the theology in me.
But it's the truth.
It's the truth.
What I'm saying, because if that human heart had a heart attack, we would have to get it help. We would have to get help for that heart attack. And it's the same thing with our emotions.
One of the things that I say, Dr. Alexander, is that I can't say that I haven't went there on a Sunday morning, but I also remind them, I'm not angry with you. I'm your pastor.
Right. Okay.
I'm your spiritual father.
Right.
And just like there have been times when you love Chance and you love your daughter.
Right.
But there are times when
I have to get at you.
Yes, you have to.
Yes.
Because I love you too
Discipline.
much. So the discipline.
Right.
I said, now I'm telling y'all this because I'm not an evangelist. And it'll be wonderful. They get to say what they want to and leave and don't never come back. But you're gonna see me every weekend and week out.
But isn't that what a real father is?
That's what a real father is.
So that's what it is. I can discipline you because I love you.
That's it.
That's why. If I didn't discipline you, then that's when you need to start worrying. If I let you get away with anything, that's when you need to start worrying.
That's
true. Yeah.
And that's the deal. And I try to remind them, and I ask God in private time and my meditation, Lord, always allow me, because I don't know who's visiting.
Right.
To make sure that I set it in order.
Yes.
Because when I do kind of go there with them, I said, now I've told us, you know, this is not a ball game. We don't get up and walk during the benediction. Okay. Don't make me go there with you, Mount Gilead.
But you're teaching church.
I'm trying to teach.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if don't nobody teach you, you don't ever know. And we do have a lot of new babes in church.
Right.
So I appreciate you guys coming on the
We're
set.
thankful.
Okay, so in Mount Gilead, you say it a different way. I say Gilead. That's my country tale. How do you say it?
That's Mount Gilead.
Mount Gilead. Yeah, I heard you say it. I picked up on it. Yeah, because I'm saying Mount Gilead in Italy, Texas, but Mount Gilead in Italy, Texas. They do. I remember you guys just having like the kids loved it. It was a warm and welcoming. Awesome. Yeah, they enjoyed it. Yes. So I'm really thankful that your guys' ministry is continuing to grow. And I know you're touching a lot of lives, because there was a lot of kids, baby.
Thank you for those wonderful words. And your husband, again, you know, I grew up with him. Yeah. And we thank the world of both of you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to hold you to that. We want you to come down and bring your gift.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I do. I love
Bring your gift with you and just allow God to use you.
Okay.
In a time and in a day where we need it.
Okay.
Amen.
And so that's an open-ended invitation, and we'll definitely stay in touch.
Okay, yeah. And it was nice meeting you. Well, seeing you again, because we've met, but we don't get to keep in touch.
Right.
Everybody's moving at the pace of life.
Yeah, it is.
Ministry is quick. It's busy.
Exactly.
Because you never know. You never know.
That's an inconvenience to me. I said, well, ministry is an inconvenience.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be inconvenienced, you might not
need to go into ministry.
You don't need to be in ministry.
Baby.
Ministry itself is an inconvenience.
That was 7 years of
God bless you.
Yeah, that was I pray for you guys and continue just being able to touch people, because that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting us.
And I'm glad you came on, because not a lot of people want to do that. Come on,
Bless you.
right? Talk about it because it's a sensitive subject.
It
really is.
Yeah, and it needs to be talked about.
It does.
Like you say, there are people, and I had time. I mean, brothers that I minister to and do my best to share my heart, my convictions, how to handle that.
Right.
That's not the right way to do that, brother.
Right.
You're letting your emotions get the best of you.
Right.
Those are not your people. You can't do that.
You cannot do that.
You can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And man, and the attitude is this. But I'm sorry, we're on radio. I almost said it. But pray for me too. Yeah.
Well, and in closing too, that if more churches would require their leadership to go to counseling, they would see, I think they would continue to see growth, they would see that stabilization. I mean, to think that a pastor committed suicide, anytime I hear that, it's so hard. It is so hard. It's hard to hear anybody suffering like that, but
yes, indeed.
And I think what happens is they feel like they can't tell anybody what's going on, so you do end up absorbing it and internalizing it. And I'm saying to any pastor out there are counselors who will work with pastors. Yes. And we are required by law to maintain your confidentiality. I work with several pastors and their families, and I never look at them in the eye when I see them out in public because I maintain their confidentiality. Nobody knows that they come to me, and they'll never know that they come to me. I've watched their kids grow up. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But that's what counseling is. Yeah. And I don't think that's preached enough in the room with preachers. Our first ladies that just go. Just go.
I thank God for my wife. She allows me to pastor. Then she's my steroid. She gets to see the side of me that, people think sermons fall out the sky.
Right.
They see me up there and, just to go through to come up with a cognitive argument.
Right.
Dispersing verbs and putting it, 45 hours.
And I've heard you.
And just to stand up and watch people go to sleep. And then I want to say something, but I can't.
Right.
And I said, he said, why are you so angry? I said, you don't get to see what I see.
Right.
I'm elevated.
Right.
And so while I'm ministering, I say, they think it's easy.
Right. They take it for granted.
They take it for granted.
Right. Yeah. So when we say pray for your pastors, pray for your first ladies, pray for the ministry leaders. It is serious business. It's not about what they're doing at church. It's also about who they are as a person, who they are physically. They're absorbing a lot of energy, and that is stressful. And you want your pastors and your first ladies to have long lives, and those ministry leaders, because you're not ready to step up into that ministry and lead it. But we want you to pray for them. So I thank Doctor. Am I speaking something? I thank Pastor Dixon and his lovely wife, First Lady Keisha Dixon. I'm coming to the set. We are now going into our next interview with Dr. Tonya Cunningham. She's a grief counselor and does a lot of work in ministry surrounding grief and loss and helping people to understand it as a Christian. So make sure, I know you need to take a break, but don't go yet because her video is coming right up after we sign off, and then I'll be back to kind of close everything out with the girls like we do every night. We have our girl games, if you will. So here we go, Don. Roll a clip with Dr. Cunningham. We know each other, but this is Dr. Tonya Cunningham, and she is a grief specialist, is what I know her as. But she has a lot of credentials. Life coach, you are a grief strategist.
Right.
What else? Because it was a lot. What else? Tell me.
I'm an author.
Okay.
I'm a mortician.
Really?
That's what most people don't know.
I did not.
I am. I'm a mortician.
And you're actively working as a mortician?
I do. In the funeral home years ago.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. But I can see that because you have a heart for helping people heal and get through difficult times. Yeah. So we met at a play. Both of us were on a play.
Right.
When my heart stopped.
When my heart stopped.
And the director was Jeanette Greenwood, or the writer. That's her name. Right. That was the writer. And so her and I were called in as specialists in our particular field to address the reality of these emotions that were going on. Because when my heart stopped, they did talk about grief. They were talking about depression. They were talking about some mental health situations. And so all of us were kind of brought in, group of ladies, professionals, and we each went up between acts.
So I'm gonna tell you. Do you know what happened to me in between the acts? Do you remember?
I remember there was a little mishap. I'm so thankful that you were okay. Your shoe got caught or something.
Girl, no, I just missed a step. My leg had one job. And so what happened, in between the sets, they dropped the lights down to black. And so it was completely dark on stage, no side lights or anything. And I had measured it. I had watched you guys do it. I knew what I was doing. And I said, watch me fall.
Wow.
And sure enough, my foot did not, like, I never connected with the step. Just chin, contact, everything. But I recovered before those lights came on. Nobody knew, like, they heard, but they didn't know what happened. And when the lights came up and I looked at my husband, he did this.
I made a good recovery.
Baby, because let me tell you something. I missed my calling. I need to be on stage because I hopped back up. Well, according to, and I just started talking and I couldn't even look at him anymore because we would have busted out laughing because we laugh when I fall. I said it's like being married to Lucille Ball. But hey, I did, and that's how we met. It was a great time on stage, and after that, we started following each other on Facebook.
That's right.
Yes, and so tell us a little bit about your ministry, and I'll tell them why I asked you to be here on the episode.
Okay, actually, I've been a minister since 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not until here recently when people really started recognizing I was a minister. But I'm a minister of what I've called the grief ministry.
Gotcha.
Now, of course, years ago, grief ministry was not something that was widely talked about, not accepted in the church. So it really wasn't until I went through my own tragedy of divorce.
Okay.
And after going through the divorce, it was just like my ministry just opened up. So what I say, I help people heal and just help them with healing and deliverance by way of grief support.
Okay. Okay. So I asked her, of course, to be on tonight's episode because we're talking about the emotionality of ministry. And like I said earlier in the episode, we do not dialogue about this enough. We put our ministers, our pastors, and the preachers on this pedestal.
Yes.
And then when we see the humanity of them, sometimes we will ignore the fall. We'll ignore the fall, and so we're ignoring the emotionality of it. Or other times we will just totally blast them and hang them out to dry without actually dealing with the emotionality of it. And so I was drawn to this particular topic matter for some personal reasons, just what we went through at our church home recently. We've gone back to our home church after being on a mission. We were on a local mission for 7 to 8 years, and a lot of things, a lot of growth, and learned a lot just about being in ministry. But watching my husband be the assistant pastor and watching the pastor, exactly right. So watching all of that, I said, you know what? I have a platform now. Let me talk about the emotionality of ministry, and then the colon behind that is when God becomes the goal.
Yes, that's good.
Yes,
I
God
love
becomes
that.
the goal, because we're all able to minister in our particular expertise, our areas of expertise.
Right.
But if we minister with the wrong goal in mind, then we will not have the same level of effectiveness. So I want to thank you for being on the show, and I think it is going to touch a lot of people, just like your platform does. You speak a lot. Tell us about a couple of events you're coming on, and then we'll go into our discussion about the emotion.
Okay, actually, tomorrow I'll be speaking at a local church in the Fort Worth area, and it's like the topics that I'm speaking about, again, about healing. And tomorrow's topic is going to be about when suffering ends. Yes, so kind of like the other side of healing. But two other large women's movements, I call them. One is going to be Flutter.
Okay.
That's going to be next Saturday. It's April 6th, and it's hosted by Evangelist Carletta Govan, and it's about the 7th year, I think. It's a huge gathering where about 300 or 400 women get together.
Really? Okay.
And they talk about healing, and her platform is based upon the process of the butterfly. Going through the transformation and the metamorphosis. And then the last weekend in April, I'll be with Sharon Simpson. She has a huge movement called The Unveiling.
Okay.
And it deals with hurting women, again, coming from domestic violence, rape, or any type of situation. And she really helps them heal and go through the processes.
That's good. So we'll post the links for that. Do you have some events set up on your page so people can?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so then we'll do that. We'll share those so the audience can see.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You said that your significant loss, which kind of
just propelled your ministry was the divorce.
Yes.
And my understanding is that you were married to a minister.
A pastor.
A pastor.
Yes.
Okay, so kind of walk us through that when you say it helped propel what you do now.
Okay. Yes, because when I was married, waited late in life to get married, and got married, and then like 3 or 4 months later, we were thrusted into pastoring.
Which is that.
2 new babies, a marriage and a church. And
that's a lot.
So that was huge. And we were married for 9 years. And then after the 9 years, that's when he said, quote unquote, I no longer have the capacity to be married to you anymore. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Very.
I no longer have the capacity
to be married to me anymore.
Which means you're not priority, because if you don't have the capacity, you're full. I get that.
That's exactly what that meant. And of course, at that time, I didn't know.
Okay.
But again, having gone through the journey and healing, and he's correct, he did not have.
He didn't have the capacity.
He did not have the capacity.
Meaning what?
That again, I was not his choice.
Priority.
I was not his priority.
Okay.
So, and he was. I heard that he had shared with other people that he was in a living hell. And looking back, now he was.
Really? Being married, he was in a living hell.
He was in a living hell. And so it was that. Mind you, I told you I've been in the grief industry, been a mortician since '89.
Yeah.
So I fell into the trap of being being a person, you know how we are good at telling other people what to do and how to care for themselves, but not do that for ourselves.
Right.
So I didn't do self-care until 2012 when the divorce came around.
Really?
It was like my eyes, the scales fell from my eyes, and it was like, I really fell into depression because I was like, God, you know, I'm serving you, doing all I know how, and this happens.
Right.
And so that's what propelled me to this day.
Is that the topic of the book?
The book is called I Got My Marbles Back. Very interesting topic, God-given topic, and he gave it to me when I was going through outpatient therapy.
Okay.
Because what I did was I couldn't wrap my mind around it, Dr. Stacia, around the fact that, okay, this guy doesn't want me anymore. What am I getting ready to do? I was middle-aged, late 40s, about 48, 49, and so I slipped into depression, was suicidal, and so I ended up.
So you had some strong reactions.
Oh yes.
And were you you were in a leadership role because you was the pastor's wife?
Yes.
And so did you feel the congregation or anybody within that circle pull to you and say, hey, how are you doing emotionally? Have you gotten a counselor? Like, do you remember? None of that verbiage?
No, ma'am. I felt abandoned. It was maybe a handful of people that reached out to me, but none of them mentioned that.
None. Yeah, we had a conference last week on the state of black women mental health.
Wow.
And we talked about that is how we need to have the conversations. I challenged my husband on that, as you know, because he was a pastor. Just like, you guys need to talk about that. Men need to talk about it. Men need to say, hey, you need to go to counseling. Hey, man, it sounds like you need to talk to somebody. And we need to do it in church.
Yes, we do.
We need to do it in church. And so one of the ladies that I'm on the panel with, she has a shirt that says, you can pray and go to counseling.
I love that. I need to get one.
Shout out to Megan.
Megan
Pickens.
I've been on a panel with her. It's interesting because you and Megan and then another counselor in Fort Worth, Lachelle, are the 3 that I refer to.
Really? Thank you.
When I can't receive them, you 3 are the ones.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's what people get confused, or they get torn between, is that, because I'll call you and tell you that I'm going to pray for you.
Yes.
But I don't call you and tell you I have the name of some grief counselors.
That's right.
I have a name of some divorce counselors, post-divorce. Right. Yeah. And how empowering would that have been for you at that time?
That would have been just, I think, very empowering. It would have kind of helped me get to a better place sooner than I did.
So, okay. And so after the divorce, how many years did it take you to go to counseling?
I actually,
I'm no.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay.
I love it. I love sharing this journey.
Okay.
But this journey, again, immediately, because I was depressed. I was suicidal.
Yes.
And so I called the doctor because being a professional, you know what to do. He told me on a Friday. So I'm already thinking Monday I got to call my doctor.
Right.
And I did, and my doctor was out of town. And so, you know, when you're desperate, you'll just see whoever. They said, she won't be back for another month. I said, no, I may not be here. I can't wait. So I went to see, my doctor is Asian, and the doctor they put me with was a sister.
Really?
Never seen her before. The moment she saw me, she wanted to admit me in the mental health hospital then.
Yeah.
And I said, no ma'am, I'm good. And so.
But see how you.
I did. I said, no ma'am, I'm good. I denied it. I did. I denied it. I said, no, I'm good. No ma'am. I just need, I call them happy pills, antidepressants. I said, just give me some happy pills. And so that I immediately, it was at that point, well, I went to the doctor, she gave me the pills after I just signed a contract. I had to sign a suicide contract.
Suicide contract.
Yeah, because she said, do you realize what you came here for?
Right.
I said, I asked for pills. She said, that's the method that you told me that you would use. You're not going to make me lose my license.
Right. Right.
But it was after, maybe about 2 weeks after that moment that I said, okay, I need to
go talk to somebody. Talk therapy. Okay. And that, I mean, that's part of the education of this, is that you can do talk therapy and still take psychiatric medications.
Yes.
The medications are to take the edge off of it so that you can move out of crisis mode and actually begin to process those emotions. That's your public service announcement.
That's right. That is
public
good.
Service announcement.
I love it.
And so, okay, so let's move into how do you deal with the emotionality of it now? Because this is what I learned. I went to see Dr. Walker. She's a holistic doctor, naturalist, and I went to see her. I don't think it wasn't this year; it was the year before last. And one of the things that she explained to me is that you're depleted because, one, there wasn't enough caloric intake, just nutrition. I wasn't taking in enough nutrition, calories, and so those calories help us expend that energy. That's fuel. She explained that to me, but she said also your emotional energy, you're putting so much out, you don't have enough being fed back into you, right? And
that's right.
In which it makes sense because my kids, everybody had left home, right? So they were my reservoirs, if you will, hugs from kids and mommy, mom, I need to, all of that feeds back into you emotionally. So they were gone. I'm doing all of this in the community and everything, and I have a full practice. And she explained it to me. You cannot keep making withdrawals and you don't have enough deposits.
And I teach that. You're right.
Right? And so for you're giving a lot of withdrawals. I'm looking at this. You have 3 events in April.
You're right.
Right? So for the emotionality of ministry,
absolutely.
Let's talk about how do people in ministry actually get those deposits back without appearing selfish.
Setting boundaries.
Okay.
Setting boundaries for yourself and having what I call tea time. Tonya time.
Tonya, okay.
Not tea time. Not tea time. I love tea though, and I do. I do drink a lot of tea.
Okay.
I love lemon flavored green tea. Just about. I love to try different kinds. But having tea time, Tonya time, and it was my coach who helped me to understand. Coach Karen, shout out. She helped me understand. You've got to do that. You're speaking. You're going here. So I have that time where I have at least once a month, which is a Saturday, where I do just what I want to do.
Yes.
Be it relax, sleep, or go to something for self-development. Anything I want to do to where I don't have to do anything as far as speaking for somebody else that pours into me.
Right.
I now have my own therapist again.
Okay.
Because in that time after the divorce, that was 2012, so was doing counseling and all of that for about a year. And then got discharged and stopped. And my coach again helped me understand just a few months ago, last year. She said, you stopped going to your counselor to help people. What is you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I said, you're right. So I started back going to counseling. I call it maintenance.
Yes. Just like you go to your primary care physician.
You gotta do it.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
I do that, and but those are I get a massage now.
Okay.
Monthly.
Okay.
Massages are what I call therapeutic necessities. When you're going through crisis, especially because of the toxins that build up in our body.
And people don't believe
that. They don't believe that. You have to because it breaks it up. So now I had been talking about that for a couple of years, and this year I've implemented. I go at least once a month.
Okay.
Once a month for that. So I do that, and so those are just a few of the things that I
That
do
you do.
to take care of me.
Do you pay attention to your levels in the sense that, like, last weekend when we did that event for Black women in mental health, afterwards, I knew that I was depleted. Like, I knew there was nothing I could do. Like, we went out to eat, and it just took me just to engage. I stood at the sink. This is how depleted I was. I went to the restroom to wash my hands before we got ready to dine. And I used the soap dispenser, no problem. But I stood at that sink waiting for that water to come on for like 30 seconds before I realized you got to turn the handle.
Wow.
That's how I was just depleted, you know. And so when I came out of the bathroom, you know, we had a good laugh about it. But it was also a realization among us that we should have not had this meeting right after.
Right.
Like, we should have just
That's
said high five, you know, hugged and went home. But we were so conscious about wanting to go over everything that happened immediately. First thoughts, debriefing, exactly. So the awareness that this is what it takes out of you.
That's right.
That's what you realize.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm recognizing that on a greater level too because of what I do. Again, dealing with grief.
Right.
All the time. It is very depleting when I finish with my clients. So
Yes.
yes, there's a greater awareness now, and I'm learning to set boundaries. Say no, I can't go to this particular event. I can't go to dinner.
Right.
Even if it's family functions, you know, with my sisters or whomever, I won't get to make this event because I'm going to be resting.
Right.
After
this.
So I'm learning to do that after those types of events. I come home and I rest. And I'm learning to do something simple as taking a bubble bath. That's something else I do for myself.
Okay.
Because I used to be a person to take showers
all the time.
Gotta go quick, get in, get out.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Teals is my friend.
Okay.
I never used I thought Dr. Teals was for old people.
It's
that
like
Epsom
the
salt.
okay,
The Epsom salt.
okay,
You pour that, honey, it
pulls it out.
It pulls it
You're
out.
right.
The
You're
toxins
right.
and all.
Okay. You're right. I'm just enjoying this. I am. I'm just really enjoying this because we need to have these conversations because we see people feeding into other people in ministry, gospel singers. We tried to get a gospel singer for the show. I mean, we just talked to some of everybody in preparation for the show on what it actually takes to be in ministry.
Yes.
And the people who are being fed, they don't realize it.
Oh my God.
Like they're absorbing.
Yes.
So when we say pray for the pastor, pray for the worship leaders, pray for the teachers, there's a reason because they have to go home, not only deal with their families,
That's right.
but they also have to study in preparation.
Absolutely.
And I'm saying and I was in leadership, you know, for
So
7 years. Yeah, it's not like I don't know, and maybe that's why it is near to my heart. I was thinking of something else when you were talking just about going to speak at other events and being pulled in different ways. Do you find that? I'm trying to be diplomatic about it.
I totally get it. Come on, just say. Let's just say.
I'm trying to be diplomatic about it. That people fail to understand that in your position that you're basically an empath. So it is easy for you to absorb those emotions that people are feeling.
Yeah.
You don't cry because you're a professional. I'm not going to break down with you because you're a professional.
That's right.
But behind closed doors, you have to process those emotions.
You have to. You have to process those emotions and going home and feeling. There are many times I go home depleted and I'm weighted down. Especially after when there's been a great impact at an event and the people pull on me. I go home and I'm in the bed and can't get out. But it takes me about 2 or 3 days to recover.
It does. And I'm thankful. I'm married. You know, we've gone on 26 years. My husband understands that.
That's a blessing.
He understands, because he'll get up, the next morning, he's like, you ain't gonna make it, or, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna make it.
Yes.
You posted a video this morning on your Facebook page, and when I saw it, I said, I'm not doing this today. I am not watching this video because I knew it was gonna take me to a really sad place, but the way you described it was that it was such a beautiful exposition of how to explain grief to people.
It is.
And how to deal with grief.
Yes. I saw that video, woke up 3:45 this morning to go to the ladies' room, get back in the bed. Because when you get older, you have to do those things. So I saw a message on Facebook and saw that video. I said, oh, I've got to share this now. What really got me was the children that were, of course, I knew it was going to tug at the heart of a lot of people because it was a child dying.
And they chronicled it.
They chronicled
beautifully.
It was beautiful.
Beautifully. There wasn't anything horrific about it. There wasn't anything obtuse about it. It was just beautiful.
And I believe it's things like that we need to see. We need to see, just like what you're doing now, talking about that. Use it as a teaching moment and a tool of what it's really, how those moments are supposed to be handled.
Yes, but I said I should have paid attention to the disclaimer. I should have saved that video and went back and watched it because they explained to the daughter. So they had one baby who had a brain tumor, inoperable brain tumor, and they were literally at the last minutes of her life.
That's right.
Even if you're looking at the last 72 hours, they were in the last minutes of her life. But they had all the family around to accompany them during her transition, and they had the kids running around, and it was so peaceful that the little boy was like, "Why are you all here? Why are all these people here?" Like he had no idea. You know, he'll look back on that video, and perhaps if they don't help him, he'll feel guilty. Like I didn't even respect that my sister was passing. Right. But even the way they handled it was like, this is a natural part of life. This is a natural part of life. Yes. And even though we're grieving, even though we're hurting,
that's right,
we're still going to do this.
That's right.
To help with the transition with everybody. You can tell everybody in that room.
Yeah, part of that transition, and even though he was, I think he's a little bit younger than the twin.
He was a baby.
He was a baby, and
that was her twin.
That was her twin.
I did not realize that was her little.
And that's why she took it. She fully understood.
Because she had been with her. Yeah, I didn't realize that was her twin.
That was her twin, and she fully understood it. And right when Avery died, her twin was playing or something. They were trying to get her to be quiet. She said, "Don't shush me."
Yeah,
that's the anger.
Yeah, and she did say that.
And that those hospice people were dynamic in how they dealt with that family.
I promise you, that was like a birth.
That was.
That was chronicled like it was a birth.
It was.
I mean, it was a moment to rejoice. You know, like I can get emotional about it now. So I'll put the video on our page and tag you on it. But it was so beautiful that. It's one of those things that if we were being honest with ourselves as human beings, the humanity of life, that this is who we are, that we feel, we emote, we do these things, and if we stop ignoring it,
that's right.
Your sister died. We're going to the funeral, and the child stays at home.
That's what usually happens.
You don't give them any closure, and I'm guilty of that. I'm like, I want them to remember my grandmother like she cooking. Yes, I want them to remember her macaroni and cheese. You know, I want this. But the closure part of it was handled, in a contained, their bedrooms. Let's talk about it.
It doesn't give them an opportunity to learn about it because, especially in our day and time, they're going to learn about death and dying. With all the shootings that they have in school and things like that. So you have more control over it. When it's your family member and you can talk them through that process.
And that's what you do for a living.
I talk them through the process.
Yes. That's beautiful. Like I told you, I admire your work. You are very necessary. When I went into the counseling field, my daddy told me, you will never be unemployed.
That's right.
He said, somebody is always going to need somebody to talk to. And that's the same thing. We will never get away from the grief of loss, whether it's from divorce, a loss of a child, jobs, situations. We will never get away from that subject matter. And so your work, just watching you speak on stage, just highlights. There you go, the grief doctor. He found you. Congratulations on that. Yes, Dr. Tonya Cunningham. What a great work you've done. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Yes, my chucks. That's a part of my transformation, going from a first lady wearing heels all of the time. And the church that I joined, that God led me to, they wore chucks all the time.
Really?
And now I have more chucks than anybody at the church.
Listen, I told you I was going to call and get some tips because I'm on that campus now, and I cannot wear my heels. Like I have a class today. That's right. Yeah, I can't wear those heels on that concrete. It'll break your back. Yeah. So I hope you'll come back again. I hope you've enjoyed this time. There's your book. You can buy her book. Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon.com.
Okay, I got my marbles back.
That's right.
What is the byline? There is life after loss.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, so make sure you go check out her book. Make sure you follow her on Facebook. It is Tonya Cunningham.
That's right.
She is a certified life coach. She's a speaker and an author, and she will mentor you as well.
Absolutely.
Just reach out to her on Facebook. Her website is Tonya Cunningham Ministries.
Yes.com. Yes.
There you go. So I did my homework. And she has a beautiful website. It just reflects who she is as a person and her ministry. So when we say pray for her, we're actually being sincere about that, because you've heard today how she absorbs the energy from other people, the experiences from other people. You've heard how she decompresses after helping people on a macro level, especially. That comes in handy, that you have some kind of decompression ritual. I tell people that all the time. Don't just think that you can go from being up on stage to just sit down, just laughing like nothing else has happened. It's really important, and the emotionality of ministry is something that we need to pay attention to, because we have pastors who are committing suicide. We have preachers' wives who are committing suicide. We have a divorce rate that's higher in the church than it is in the world.
Yes, it is.
We have children who are in the church, but they're still lost. So if we don't pray for our pastors, if we don't talk about the emotionality of being a faithful Christian, that doesn't mean I'm not faithful because I'm emotional. If we don't talk about these things, we are actually handicapping ourselves. Why are we doing that? Jesus wept.
Yes, he did.
Did he not wept? Don't worry. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There are people in the Bible who cried. There are people in the Bible who got angry. There are people in the Bible who grieved. There's nothing wrong with that. God never said that was a sin. The only sin is what you do through that emotion.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good already. You did that.
because what? I've been in His Word. I've been in His Word, and it bothers me. I do get choked up. It bothers me when somebody comes to me and says, my pastor didn't want me to come to counseling. Or I've been in situations, I've talked to groups where the pastor cut me off. The pastor cut me off.
Wow.
Right. And it was so funny. The particular church I'm in, I remember it vividly. The pastor was in the back, so you had a row of women in the front. And I was talking about domestic violence.
Yeah.
You had a row of women in the front. He cut me off when I said that there is no reason for your husband ever to hit you. I don't care what his role is in life. He never has permission to hit you.
Correct.
And you need to what? Call the police.
Yes.
There are legal consequences for that. We don't call the police. You come talk to me if your husband is hitting you. Right. And all the women on the front row were like,
wow.
Yeah. Yes, I kid you not. But
a lot of that is happening.
It's happening. It's happening. Why? Because we don't talk about it.
Because we don't talk about it.
So I appreciate you coming on the show. I am not going to keep you, but I am going to keep following you and hope that we get the opportunity to work together again.
And talking about follow me, just stay tuned for some updates. I'm getting ready to release my first coaching program.
Okay.
It's called From Lost to Life.
Really?
April the 19th.
Okay.
And the website is going to be updated. It's to drtonyacunningham.com. So we'll have all that information for you where you can find it.
Yes. Just send it to me and I'll post it. Okay. So yeah, for everybody that saw her on the show, goals don't have feelings with Dr. Alexander. This is Dr. Tonya Cunningham. She has graced us with her presence so that we could shed light on the emotionality of ministry, and I thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. It was a blessing. Guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Okay, welcome back. We have had a very full evening, 2 great interviews with Pastor Dixon and his First Lady, Keisha of the Mount Gilead Baptist Church in Italy, Texas. I have to calm myself down when I say it to pronounce it properly. And then we had Dr. Tonya Cunningham, who came in the studio and talked to us about grief and overcoming sadness and depression. She does quite a bit of work, so make sure you follow her on Facebook because she tours quite a bit with her speaking platform. So what do you guys think? We want to hear. We've been reading your comments. Thank you for engaging. We didn't have any calls in tonight, but remember that when you catch us next month on the first Thursday in May, we will have an episode. That's going to be a very exciting episode, and I'll tell you about that a little bit later. We are ready, ladies. Are y'all ready, Tasha? Have you figured out the iPad? Have you figured it out? No.
I'm trying.
Okay, so she's trying. So we have iPads at each of the stations now, so that we can engage with you more. So we'll do a training with Tasha for the next episode, so that she can be a little bit more fluid with typing on the iPad versus her phone. And if anybody out there wants to donate a phone, Miss Spike,
You know what? Do not
a new
cannot
phone.
believe you are
If
doing
your
my phone
phone
like
starts
this.
out with 91% at 7 o'clock and you're at what? 0.2%? By 9 o'clock, you need a new phone. All right, so you ladies, what you think? Did you listen in on some of the interviews? What you think?
It was a great show.
It was a great show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pastor, First Lady, they were very informative.
Okay.
And just very passionate about what they had to share tonight.
Okay. Tasha?
And I want to, when I'm home and have the opportunity, I really want to listen again with your interview with the lady talking
Dr.
about grief.
Cunningham.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm very, interested in that. Yes.
Okay. I think both of those topics were necessary to have. I think this was a good show. I do want everybody in the audience to know that Tasha is really the brainchild behind the topics of the show.
Yes.
And then Nisha helps us get guests for the show. And I kind of just pull everything together and scream and
boss us
around. And then and so we kind of pull it all together. My husband has been helping me behind the scenes, so hopefully we won't be in divorce court next month talking about the emotionality of marriage and actually working together. And then we have a new team member who's going to join us, another Skyline person, Janice Davis. She won't be on front of the camera. She told us she's a behind the scenes kind of person, so she'll be working with us too on some production issues, because Don said I'm too much for him. I'm doing he said I'm too much. But thank you guys for tuning in. And of course, we always like to end on a high note, having fun.
Yes.
So we are going to play Hot Topics tonight. Oh, not Hot Topics. That's something else. We're playing
That's Wendy Williams.
Hot Topics is Wendy
Hot on the
Williams.
spot.
We surely need to let that topic go. But we're going to do Hot on the Spot. How about that? Hot on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So every one of us has to answer this question. Hot on the spot. Do not think too long. Life would be boring without laughter.
Cheetos.
Coke.
Girl.
Well, you took my laughter.
Oh, okay. So we agree on laughter.
Okay, no, without cuss words.
Oh. And down as a five.
Okay. All right. What meal did you hate as a kid and you haven't eaten since you've grown up?
Beans.
Red beans?
Any kind of beans. I call them pooters. I do
like red
not.
beans?
I don't eat pooters. No
Really?
beans. No.
What did I hate as a kid that I don't eat now? I don't like that because I have changed. I eat a lot more vegetables than I did. Probably chitlins. I can't.
Yeah.
I just.
You ate them as a child?
Yeah, they made us taste them as a child.
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat them. You see what I'm saying? Like they made us taste them, but I never went in the kitchen and said, "Can I have a bowl of chitlins?"
Yeah, I didn't fix a plate of them.
Yeah, that was not.
Ooh,
bad.
baby, I ate them as a child, and I still eat them.
So what?
Baby,
I didn't like those green peas.
Oh, really?
like English peas.
Yeah, the
And
little
sweet
green,
peas?
the sweet peas.
You don't like them?
Sometimes some of them are called English peas. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I like
some of them are
sweet
English
peas.
peas.
I
I
like
like
it in a
them.
pea salad, but when it was like boiled.
And just cook.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's the next one, Doug?
So in other words, you eat everything. Oh, you said chitlins. Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Okay.
Okay, so if you had a theme song that played every time you walked into, I answered that one last time, so I'm gonna let them answer it.
Oh, let me see. Okay, mine would probably be any song by Tupac. Just I love me some Pac.
Mine is Lionel Richie, Easy Like Sunday Morning.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I said Kevin Gates. She got 6 jobs. I got 6 jobs. Six jobs. What? It's a rap song. I know you don't know nothing about
Yeah, I
it.
never heard of that.
I know, because you didn't even know who Nipsey Russell was.
No, don't start that. And it's not Russell, see? Yeah.
right, now one more. You got, is that it? Okay. Oh, name something on your bucket list.
Bungee jumping.
Bungee jumping is really?
Yes.
Really?
Have you zip lined?
No, I haven't zip lined.
I've zip lined,
Yeah,
but
I like to try bungee.
What's on my bucket list?
mine would be, I want to go to London. I want to go across the, I want to go to London.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yes.
What's on my bucket? That's what I'm saying. Like, well, cause you know what I see a bucket list as, and I'm probably thinking way too much about this. It's something that I wouldn't ever get to do, but I'm gonna make a point. Okay, so I'm thinking too much.
It's just a list of things that you like to do before you die. Yes.
I do want to travel more. I know, but I'm supposed to be specific about where I want to go, right?
You want to travel abroad?
Yeah, travel abroad. I don't want to travel in the United States. I mean, I will, but like I can travel in the United States to a graduation or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I can go on the town, but I want to travel abroad and take really long trips. Like, yeah.
And you're gonna take your luggage with you when you go there?
You hitting below the
I'm just asking, did you want to keep wearing them same old undies that you washed out in the sink for 7 days?
Remember, I took my underwear. That's what I took. I had my underwear
and a swimsuit. Okay.
So, yeah. Somebody else.
Okay.
The underwear.
Yeah, leave my emoji out of this. Yeah.
It was fun though. That was the best trip we've had in 25 years of marriage.
Travel light.
We traveled light. We took it to an entirely different level.
That's right.
All right, so we are ending our episode tonight, The Emotionality of Ministry. Nisha, do you have closing words?
Yes, I would like to share, and I'm going to post it on Facebook. I'm posting it right now.
Okay.
Laura has a meditation CD that's available to aid and help individuals who are interested in meditation. I encourage you to try it, Tasha.
Okay.
But it is meditation for calm and healing. I do have that CD. And it does kind of help you to be able to get into that mindset and preparing to meditate. You don't have to do 15 minutes. You can start off with maybe a minute and work yourself up to 5, 10, 15 minutes. But I just posted the CD that she does have.
And so what we'll do is actually post the link to purchase the CD. And then tell us the name of her company. Nisha going to have to look that up.
I had it right, but I don't know it right offhand. Hold on, just
Touched.
No, I can't pull it up.
By an angel?
No, it's not Touched by an Angel. What's your closing words while Nisha looks up the name of that for us?
Well, my closing words are, I don't know about this meditation, Nisha. I'm going to.
I'm just encouraging you.
I asked her. I was talking. She didn't say anything. I put in one of the comments that the other day I was going home and I slowed down, turned my blinker on to turn on the street that I'd never been on before in my life. And right when I got ready to turn, I thought, what are you doing? So I told Nisha, I said, does that count as meditation? I mean, I guess I was meditating. My mind was just somewhere else.
No, you were on autopilot.
But I'd never be, I could see that if I, went that way all the time. I'd never been on that street before. So I think that's my meditation for this quarter.
So by her giving me and telling me that story, I said that even speaks to the reason why she should consider meditation because she had so much on her mind that she was distracted. And so, but the name of her organization is For the Love of Healing. And so...
that's not the name of it, is it?
For the Love of Healing.
Oh.
For the Love of Healing. So,
well, that's good because I would think that sums up what this episode, entails.
That's true.
Healing,
For the Love of Healing.
Okay.
So we'll definitely post there.
Yeah, we'll post the link. Yeah, yeah. And then make sure you go back and practice the meditation because you're supposed to ground yourself and put your hands. And I have to talk in this voice to kind of bring it down. But you have to put your hands on your lap, put your feet, take off your shoes, and put your feet flat on the floor. Ground yourself, Tasha, and breathe deeply.
And exhale.
Do not let out gas. We are on the air. Tasha and I gonna do it. So that's our episode tonight. I do want to bring to your attention this wonderful opportunity. Well, that's the book. Make sure you go buy the book. Go to Amazon. We've learned how to be a bestseller. So if everybody could go on right now and buy that $8 book, we would be the bestseller for this hour. We've learned about Amazon. But listen, this opportunity that Nisha and I have had, last month we were on a panel to discuss the state of black women mental health, and it was awesome, and we had a lot of feedback from it. We had already planned to have a workshop in July, so what that was in March was it was an appetizer. What we're having in July is the full workshop. There will be a workbook, there will be PowerPoints, there will be information. We're going to dialogue. So please go to Eventbrite and register early, because that early bird fee will expire, I believe, May 1st. The early bird fee will expire. We are offering group services. If you have a group of ladies, we have a couple of organizations that are going to send a group of women. But all of those topics, not all, we're going to highlight some specific topics, basically microaggressions and how they affect our mental health. We're going to talk about caretakers of mental health, because people are not talking about this. You could be a caretaker of someone with a mental health problem and not even realize the impact that it's having on you. And then we're going to talk about mental health in terms of relationships. And this is all in the context of black women, because we need to understand what our mental health looks like, and it is different from other women. We don't want to minimize what other women are experiencing, but we do want to highlight what we're experiencing and change, again, the dialogue from mental illness to mental health. Remove the stigma, get the help, and you will see that you'll have a better quality of life. So Nisha and I are both licensed professional counselors. We are teaming with Dr. LaWanda Evans. She's a licensed professional counselor. Miss Megan Pickens is a licensed professional counselor. We're in private practice. We're in this every day. This is not a side hustle for us. We are actually practicing clinicians. So we will offer this workshop to you. It's not therapy. I want to do a disclaimer now. It is not therapy. But what it is, just like you take a training on heart disease, or you go to a workshop on stress management, this is a workshop about black women and mental health. It is one of many to come. I want you to pay attention to what we're doing, because we are not playing on this platform. We are taking this very seriously, and we're highlighting it, and we're taking it beyond this zip code. So if you want to follow us, you can go to our website at calltoactionmentalhealth.com, or you can go to the Facebook page at Call to Action Mental Health. And we are doing amazing things. If you have any questions, of course, you can always inbox me. You can inbox Nisha. You can inbox Megan. You can inbox Wanda. All of us are available to answer your questions and help you navigate your way to that workshop on July 27th. So we are done for the evening. Y'all want to sign off? Nisha got one more thing?
Yes.
She on fire tonight?
Okay.
Yes. Just confirming, May 1st is that early bird special. So yes,
okay. It expires on May 1st.
May 1st.
Okay.
Yes.
And you get the tickets through Eventbrite. You can find the event on Facebook, but you have to click that link and purchase a ticket. This is not a free event. Tasha, anything else?
No.
No. All right.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
You're thinking the audience.
Yeah.
Nisha,
I was going to say, you looking up.
she's looking directly into the camera. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yes.
I mean, it's Thursday night. You could have been anywhere else, but you joined us tonight, so we thank you.
And we appreciate that.
Yes, and shout out to my girl, Nettie Net.
Oh, she interacted. Tasha had her own fan club tonight. Saturday, Power Play, the station where our show is hosted. Power Play is having Do You Blue. We learned we're supposed to wear blue.
Well.
Yes, we are. That's the grand opening. So if you are looking to get into television, you can certainly come by. Take
Television
a look.
or radio?
So it's TV from a radio point of view.
Yeah.
Boom, I got it.
All
All the
right.
way. All righty, guys. Thank you. We appreciate you joining us. Remember, next month we're talking about black women and mental health. And those ladies that I talked about with the workshop will be on set. We're going to have some awesome dialogue. We did at the panel, and we're going to continue the discussion. So make sure you join us. Don't say, I don't think you're supposed to say bookmark, but do people say bookmark anymore?
No.
No.
Save
Okay.
the date.
Save the date. There you go. Save the date. Thank you.